What is going on, Governor? Chisgule here, and today we're about to stream an Ark of Osiris over 2 billion power at play. That's right, this is going to be a heck of a battle. Now, if you like Ark of Osiris videos, you should definitely like and subscribe, because we cover the heck out of Ark of Osiris, and we are a sponsored creator with Rise of Kingdoms. So we just wrapped up our Shrine and Altar Guardians. Little morning routine. We sacrificed the last round of Guardians at this shrine over here in order to hang out with you and to watch Ark of Osiris. We're headed to Kingdom 58, and in Kingdom 58, we're going to be spectating High versus JWM. This is going to be a heck of a matchup. It's 1.1 billion power versus 1.3 billion power. I mean, this is the big leagues. Welcome, my friends, to the big leagues. High for Life has 3.5 billion power. I mean, whoo. That is a lot of power. I'm pulling up the chat now. Ton of folks in the chat. Teutonic, Ethan, Luckman, Fred, Brookson, Bulmers. What is going on? Corey, Nightmares, Gustav. A lot of folks actually chatting before I even got here. Casablanca, Mustaf, Christian, Fred. Whew. Kurd, Zino, Victor, what is going on? Welcome, one and all, to what is promising to be the highest powered battle of the weekend. Just to get a sense of the Alliance members, we're looking at the officer level, at least 2 T5 players, and down at rank 3, another 1, likely 2 T5 players. A lot of players that have very, very high power. This is a very high average power alliance. Pulling back to rank 2, another 1, 2 T5 players, possibly, and likely, I would say even, a third. I mean, whew. Jeez, what's going on at rank 1? Okay, cool. So this is a very, very high power alliance, and we really appreciate being invited to spectate this Ark of Osiris, which, oh my goodness, is this going to be a heck of a fight. Now let's just zoom out and get a sense of the position on the map for this alliance. They're hanging out by the Lost Temple. Pretty solid spread across the map, honestly. Pretty solid spread across the map. And they do look like they have total... Whoop, I went back to my city. They have total control of that Lost Temple area. Total control of that Lost Temple area, controlling 1, 2, 3 of those passes. Pretty solid. And it looks like High with a 2... I'm just going to pronounce that High. Might be an alliance that feeds into their own. And so they really own the whole bottom part of that Lost Temple area. Pretty powerful setup. I'm looking forward to this arc. Before it gets started, do you have any questions? Yes, indeed. Lamo says, hey, Chis, Ronnie is streaming this fight. We're going to be streaming opposite ends of this fight. He's got the JWM view. I've got the High view. So I guess you could say I have the high ground. Am I right? Bad puns forever. Rox says, hey, I'm from High. Welcome, my friend, to the stream. We'll be watching from your perspective. We're going to try to be very careful to not tap into your armies or show your troop counts as we're streaming. Want to be incredibly respectful. We might mess that up once or twice, but we're going to try to be very mindful of that. Really appreciate your having us. This is going to be a heck of a fight. It's kind of tempting to tap into the Alliance gift real quick. Can I do that? Do I have permission? Do I have permission just to see in the last 12 hours since I've been here how many purchases people have made? Not doing that on stream without permission. Harem King Mojo showing up in the chat from my Alliance. What's going on, Mojo? Good to see you here. Good to see you here. Battle of the weekend going down in just a matter of minutes. This thing opens up in just 1 minute, and then we're going to be watching 1.1 billion power hitting 1.3 billion power. Someone saying that they give me permission to look at their... But I don't know. Oh, you want to look at their players again? We can get a quick look at their players before we go back in. For those of you just joining, multiple T5s at the officer level, multiple T5s at rank 3, multiple T5s at rank 2. This is going to be a heck of a battle. And it should be starting literally in seconds. I'm eager to see. I mean, we've got to have 30 out of 30 people show up, right? That's got to be a thing. Wynand, thank you for the compliment. Much appreciated. And we enter the Ark of Osiris. I'm trying to eat breakfast, but I got too much talking to do. I got to put this down. We're going to switch to the caffeine, and we're going to check out who's showing up from JWM, Alliance leader in the house, 58 million power. Officers in tow, 100 million and 80 million power. Woo! Cruising through this list, 71 million, 65 million. Then 60 million. Player missing, 59 million. And 54 million, 53 million. This is the big leagues. 49 million. 2 players absent from the field of battle. Then 39, 38, 36. Holy moly. On the side of High. High is who invited us to this fight. Alliance leader present. 30 million power. In tow, officers, 90 million and 26 million. Big hitters lined up, 75 million and 59 million and 51 million and player missing, 49 million, 41 million, 42 million. So there are far more T5s on the opposing side. This is the underdog side of the matchup, and in a minute 30 seconds until this thing starts, hopefully some of these missing players show up. Chat knows I like to pop quiz on what might prevent you from getting into Ark of Osiris, so drop that into the chat. What prevents you from getting into your Ark of Osiris? Looking like the turnout slightly better for JWM, and man, what might be preventing some of these players from getting into the match? You know the answer, right? Right. War Frenzy. Ranger, the first one to answer. That is one thing that will prevent you. What else? Ha! Uchidara says work. Well, I mean, that is something you should have scheduled in advance if you could have. Bulmers says troops outside the castle. Yep, that is also one thing. Roy Ben Ezra says my account is being zeroed. Good luck to whoever is trying to attempt that in my own kingdom. Ha! Have fun with all those deaths. In the meantime, player missing still, but otherwise filling in. 23 seconds to go. Final answer from, it looks like Admiral Holly and Suraj just about tied. Oh no, Sir African beat them to it. Hospitals. Yes, you cannot have any troops in the hospitals, my friend. You cannot have any troops in the hospitals. That is the final thing that might prevent you from getting into Ark of Osiris. The battle now beginning. I expect that I'm going to be given the opportunity at this point to use simple graphics because of the sheer number of armies that are about to enter into the battlefield. This is going to be pretty freaking nuts. Troops now need to fan out across the map. Now, you know what I think is simply correct. The alliance leaders and officers should be the ones sending the fastest armies out to the obelisks, and that is because they are the most forward. They literally know where they're going to start, and they are the closest to where the action is. From there, they really should posture forward on the objectives for an instant cap, but I expect we will see some spice in this Ark of Osiris. I would be astounded. There it is. Simplify graphics. We refuse that option. We decline. We want the full spectacle. I will take a crash if it happens. I want to see the show. I want to see the show. Holy moly. Troops going all over the place. Blue, the first to capture 2 structures, speeding right along. Looks like possibly, is this the alliance leader? Was their strategy? It is. Alliance leader taking the outpost on the way. Let's see if that slows down their progress toward the obelisk and if that's ultimately worth it. Who will get to the obelisk first? Will it be red or will it be blue? Red now tied on structure gain and race to the finish. It looks like T1 Cavalry with Cao Cao as the leader is the winner of this race, both to the outpost and then also to the obelisk. Pretty impressive. That is not something I expected. Now zipping back over, let's see the time difference. There it is. Jaya making their way in. Structure captured. Down below, troops still on the way. Blue, however, firmly in control of both of their obelisks. Clock is now ticking. Let's see, that is Premise Fella. If I just zip back over here, it looks like they sent players other than their alliance leadership to go grab those nodes, which is what led to that delay. That is a pretty clear demonstration of why I like to have those alliance leaders be the ones that go for those structures. They simply are closer, so they can cap them faster. My apologies, it's Isla, not Jaya. Interesting. Lot going on. Panning around the map rather quickly. Now we see armies moving forward. You know what I don't see? Blue lines to this obelisk. You know what I don't see? Blue lines to this obelisk. No shenanigans in this Ark of Osiris. This is clean play. I think it's not correct to rally the obelisk. I think it's straight incorrect. So, if you do it, you're taking a very high-risk play that's only moderate reward, in my opinion. So I like that I don't see rallies, but what I did see over here is a red line going in. Is that a scout or is that a rally? What can we tell? I can't tell anything. Might just be an army making their way over, posturing to be perhaps a little bit threatening. Bunch of troops heading in to reinforce these obelisks, but since none of the action is going to the obelisks, I'd love to see that move up the field, move to the front line, because that front line is going to be at these altars and shrines. In just a matter of 55 seconds, they become capturable, and we want them to capture those immediately. You can see now, blue ahead in points, and that is because they got that early structure time, and 29 players for the overdog, 26 players for the underdog. That is going to make a tough situation even tougher, given that we know one of the players missing is one of the more powerful players for that alliance, or at least in the roster that is committed to attending Ark of Osiris. We see now armies postured forward. Worth mentioning that if you want to teleport, and very, very soon indeed, we're going to start to see armies teleporting forward. In fact, it should be any second now that this obelisk converts, 13 seconds until it does. You can only teleport up if your armies are all in structures, which means that everybody's got to be in one structure or another of your armies. And boom, armies, cities teleporting in, 59 million power to the front line. And others ready? 7 teleports available. Boom, player in. 6 teleports available, 71 million power. Big hitters on the upper side of the map. And let's see. Boom. 65 mil, 49 mil, 60 mil. Big hitters on the bottom of the map. Split evenly-ish. That looks like that was a scout that went in on the obelisk. 105 million power. Did I miss that earlier? Holy moly. And 47 million power. The alphas are here to play, and they are playing for keeps. Solo attack in on Shrine of Life. Probably an ill-advised attack, but maybe they said, we're so far on the wrong side of the map at this point, we want to head back to town. Probably not a play I would have made, but look, maybe in fact they had scouted it and they saw this was weak. I am rather shocked. Is this structure relatively undefended? Could this convert? Could this convert? No, the reinforcements are going to arrive and charge talents coming handy. This army is uncatchable and they are on their way out. Scouts are in. I'm inclined to believe that they had scouted this as well, so they knew. They knew what was going on when they made that attack. Good use of scouts, good use of pressure, and they're on their way back. Now is the calm before the storm. That storm is going to be a series of rallies onto structures, optimally targeting the high point objectives. I would say the altars would be what I would target, but scouts running around, figuring out what's happening, overdogs posturing around the Ark of Osiris. I like that play. Claiming this land as their own, saying, hey, you know what? You can try to take this Ark from us, but we were here first. We were here first, so you're going to have to get critical mass if you want to try to make that move. Meanwhile, bunch of armies behind this structure. I would love to see them in front of the structure. Let's go and see what's going on over here. Lines in on the Shrine of War, and still the same players, no additional players on the left obelisk, upper obelisk, looking about the same. A lot of players in the field. Where are those rallies? Now, you may remember in a prior Ark of Osiris with certainly JWM, there was a lot. I don't know if High was also in that matchup. There was a lot of open field fighting, way less of that. And here is not first blood, because we saw that a moment ago, but I guess second blood? Second skirmish happening now. Even at this high power of play, Joan of Arc on the field, if that doesn't tell you something about the value of Joan of Arc, I don't know what will. And, oh my goodness, is this going to be an Expertise Disongye? No, maybe? No, I don't think so. I don't think so, because how insane would an Expertise Disongye be right now? I mean, that would just be bananas, right? That would be completely, utterly bananas. Open field combat, but more importantly, structure under attack. And rally beaten off. I don't know that I love the strategy of hitting the rally as the rally's hitting the structure, but you know, you can pile up a lot of debuffs onto the rally when you do that. And I imagine that Red getting a lot of severely injured units, or inflicting rather, a lot of severely injured units to the side of JWM, which is the sort of value trade they need to make. That is the sort of value trade that they need to make. That said, now it's becoming very clear that this is going to be a battle for the Ark of Osiris. The Ark of Osiris will be what might decide the winner or loser of this fight. JWM, they know it. And they are here, and they are not fooling around. Not a critical mass yet of high players in order to contest this really scary, intimidating looking front line of T5 troops. Whoo! There's T5, and I think there's T5, and that's T5, and that's T5, and I think those are T5s. I mean, Yeah. Okay. Little bit of action on the open field. If there is going to be action in the open field, this is where it needs to be. And red armies heading in like a cue ball, breaking up what's going on here. Blue armies springing into action to counter. Whew. Couple folks getting caught out of position and getting melted. The battle has begun over here, but blue still pretty firmly in the driver's seat with regard to the number and quality of armies hanging out by the center of the map. More high armies joining in. It's moments like this where I like to reflect and say, gosh, wouldn't it have been nice to have brought some commanders that can do AoE damage or debuffs? Because look at this huge chunk of players hanging out in the middle of the map. Several of these red players are cut off from support, and those armies are in trouble. Even the cavalry army with Pelagius is unlikely to be able to escape that conflict, and still additional infantry committing into the fight. I do love a Sun Tzu at the helm there. They could do a ton of AoE damage, but holy moly, look at those T5s doing honestly terrifying work on that army. Yikes. Yikes. As far as I can tell, none of the other structures currently under attack. This arc is where the action will be, and it spawns in only 45 seconds. But look at this. Look at this troll in the center. Catch me if you can. I've got T1s, and I'm not holding the arc yet, so I can dance all day. I can dance all day. If anything, this player is distracting multiple players from doing something meaningful, and I honestly think it's not that bad. It's honestly not that bad. Here we see that still we don't yet have a critical mass, but bold play. Swarm attack of all things on the Shrine of War combined with a rally. They are pushing hard to take the Shrine of War. This will tip in their favor. The damage stats, 5% attack and defense by virtue of taking the Shrine of War. Perhaps this was the weaker defended objective, which is why they wanted to take it. However, I probably would have focused that same attention onto an altar, a higher point objective, especially if you're not going to be able to get this arc, which is on its way over, but strategic play in other ways by controlling this structure. They now in some ways have a launching off point for cutting off this carrier, and that is exactly what I would do in their position if they could spring into action fast enough, is to cut up the map and cut off this carrier from going to score big points, a solid 3,000. In the meantime, we see these T5s are here surrounding the structure, not yet heading over. There it is, realizing, hey, wait a minute. I've got to cut off this arc so they don't get a ton of free points. So they are on their way over, and blue knows it. Blue knows it. They're going and collapsing in to protect the carrier. Meanwhile, down below, rally in on Desert Altar, and this is really painful. This was not worth picking up the Shrine of War in order to lose the Desert Altar, but action in on Sky Altar. We've got a rally, but that rally from Freddie Mercury is looking like it is really hurting, even though there is a lot of T5 in that rally. And Ark of Osiris still moving down the battlefield. Players trying to get into position, but taking a lot of damage and free hits from the enemy without skill attacks to try to take out this carrier. Pretty disadvantaged in that regard. And even though this is a T5 army, they might be doing a lot of counterattack damage, but it's T5s hitting them. This is not the situation you want to be in. And now action in on the carrier, but not enough troops left to actually make it go. Cavalry army is here, but hitting the wrong thing. If only they could get in on the carrier, they might be able to kill them. Instead, battling in on an archer army. Another player realizing they've got to move forward, but turning around, interesting choice. I would really make a beeline for that carrier. If both armies had done that, they might have been able to stall this capture a little bit. Perhaps red deciding, we're going to give this arc and focus on other things. At the same time, rally in on Shrine of War. We've got Caesar at the helm with Richard I on the defense, Second Army piling on with Charles Martel and additional army coming in. Who's at the helm? Herman, additional army coming in. We've got Barca, pretty strong set of hitters, and Barca moving in to attack from still within the arc of Richard's debuff. Not the best, but they want to get in on the action right away. And this swarm of armies might just be enough to make the difference. In a perfect world, this player would get into the structure, but I'm just going to assume they've already got an army in there, which is why they're not reinforcing it. Or, here we go, additional army in, needs to get into this structure. I will say, bold play made by taking the Shrine of War, which means they have to win this combat for it to have been worthwhile. Otherwise, it was a huge, huge sacrifice if they lose this structure right now, and I do not think this looks good for them. Tons of T5s overwhelming the defense. I do love that it's probably, let's see here, we see the Richard, and can we tell if it's a Charles Martel? Can we tell who the secondary is? I'm going to guess it's a Charles, but I don't know that I see the crown of spikes that I would expect to see that would represent that they have a shield. That said, there's so many people hitting it, I don't know that we would be able to see that anyways. And I'm going to upgrade Harem King Mojo to be a moderator. Welcome. And a little bit of weird chats showing up. Got to drop a user into timeout. Come on, folks. Keep it clean. Keep it clean. And bada boom. Shrine of War, armies defeated. This now is heading in a direction that is going to be really, really tough for High. Pressure in with a swarm in on Desert Altar. Rally as the follow-up. Presumably, these players can jump into that rally. Oh, it looks like it might be a full cavalry rally. So I don't know that they do want to jump into that rally. Where's it going? That's right. Hitting in the Desert Altar, softened by these solo attackers, and off to the side, rally in on Sky Altar. Charles Martel at the helm, defense looking like it's going pretty darn well, but honestly a rather close fight. Reinforcements perhaps arriving to be the difference maker, and this is why defending structures can be really powerful, because you're closer to where your cities are, you can get that reinforce going, and you can get a ton of value, assuming that this army goes into the structure instead of walking right past it and getting hit by the rally. Oh no. Oh no. Not the most optimal, getting hit again by the rally. They must not realize they're not in the structure to defend it. All right. All right. A little bit of action. Isla hitting the rally. Isla hitting the rally, saying, you know what, it's low enough. Looks like Freddy is the secondary supporting Isla, and Sky Altar getting kind of low, but Sandy, hopefully, there it is. Big reinforcement into that structure. Now it's looking really, really solid, and aggression up the map. Rally in from Isla on the Shrine of Life. We've got Mehmed II leading the rally. Not my first choice, because Mehmed II really is more oriented toward hitting cities, and my gosh, is he scary for that task. He does have some amount of AoE, but, you know, I think I prefer other commanders. That said, piling on, cavalry army, hitting hard. This is pretty darn exciting. This is pretty darn exciting, and we can see here that the structures have sort of swapped ownership from sides of the map. Red now owning the right-hand altars, blue owning the left-hand altars, and rally in perhaps on Desert Altar. Converting this structure would be a game changer for the folks in red. It would be a pretty big game changer, but my goodness, is that defense doing work on this rally? What is going on here? What is going on here? We've just got to take a look here. Shenzhen is Full T5 player. Maybe it's the talents. Maybe it's the skills. Couldn't be. Maybe it's the pairing. Hard to say, but this rally needs to work, and it's not going as well as I would have liked. That said, reinforcements in on the rally, and this is why being the attacker, hitting an objective closer to where your cities are, is a really big deal. It's a really big deal. More armies showing up to smash, and they are going to do work on this desert altar if reinforcements don't arrive, and those reinforcements looks like they're cut off. But hey, we've got a rally going in. Aggressive play on a player city. Wait, what? We're rallying player cities? I mean, this is getting rather spicy. I don't know that I agree with that play. Rallying an obelisk seems like a better hit if you ask me, but this rally's coming in hot, and maybe this represents a personal grudge. Day says, Chisgule, drink some water. All right. We'll breathe. We'll hydrate. This is tea, though. Whew. Okay. Lot to talk about in this Ark of Osiris. Structure advantage going to high. That means pretty soon the points per minute are going to stack up, and rally closing in on this player over here. Reinforcements coming in. I mean, I would take siege units even though those are not optimal. It's better than nothing. Is this a ploy to simply bring a large army down the field? Epic commander at the helm, city hitting commander at the helm, or is this a real intended rally on this structure? Using this rally mechanism would be a great way to have conveyed this army to then break it up, and you've got all your armies safely traveling down to this part of the field. But they are rallying for real. They are doing work now on this player's city. This is a 42 million power player. All of their troops are out other places, and wow, they are going to get teleported back to the starting zone. Now a bunch of armies downfield in the side of red, and that means High needs to take this opportunity to clean these guys up when they can't get support. That seems like an opportunity for red to get a lot of kills, but instead, these guys are getting a free trip back to town. Some amount of action in the field over here, fairly disruptive, and Structure Ninja. Kirito goes in with charged talents and says, I think this outpost will be points for us now. Thanks much for the points. And while that point gain is disruptive and is a great play, I've got my eye going now to the Ark of Osiris. 1 minute until this becomes capturable, and if they don't get this structure, if they don't get the points associated with the Ark of Osiris, red is going to start to fall really far behind. The structure game can't make up for the raw point gain that you get from that Ark of Osiris, and a couple individual armies getting fended off by blue at the Shrine of Life. Blue in control of both Shrines of Life, which means they've got a 50% healing speed. So not only are they the overdog in this fight, but should they choose, they can heal like crazy. And we've got big swarm attack doing work on the Shrine of War. Reinforcements sorely needed, and some folks turning around to offer that, but it's going to be too little too late. Losing this structure is going to be a big problem, not just for the attack and defense, but 80 points per minute is a lot of freaking points. That is going to be a lot of point loss at a time when red really can't afford it. They cannot afford that point loss, and there you have it. Armies sent home, successful swarm for the overdogs taking the Shrine of War. Although High has the high point scoring objectives, and they are getting more points per minute, if they don't get this arc, if they don't disrupt this arc, then it is going to be the first nail in the coffin for this Ark of Osiris. It will be the first nail in the coffin if this arc can go back and score. There's just not enough time left in the match to try to win the structure game. There's not enough time left. To win the structure game, they needed more structures sooner. So now it's an arc game. As many Ark of Osiris battles are, this is an arc game. And Blue is asking all the questions. Red has to have the answers. Blue is in the driver's seat, and they are the overdogs. This is a thing we would expect. They've got more T5s, and they're playing it pretty well. Meanwhile, action back down over here. Rally in on the Shrine of Life. Perhaps this is High saying, hey, wait a minute. We need to do some healing. Like now. So let's get this thing. Up our healing by 25%. I mean, 25% more troops for the same number of speed ups seems really good to me. So yeah, they're in on this Shrine of Life, but it is not going particularly well. The defenders here doing work with what looks like Mina Tao Tao. Very, very impressive. I'm sort of surprised at how well that's going. Reinforcements in on the rally and reinforcements in on the rally and possible swarm attack coming in to support this. These are high-end endgame players. What we're seeing here that, I don't know, perhaps, well, I guess we don't know what talents are on this commander. We don't know what talents are on these commanders, so it's hard to say. We also need to figure out who is the secondary here. Looks like it's Julius Caesar, which is an amazing pairing. Brute Force at work, and holy structures! Look at this. Structure under attack, rally in, and structure under attack, swarm at play, and up top, rally in on Shrine of Life. I mean, I don't even know where to look, but it almost doesn't matter. Another Ark of Osiris about to be scored, and that is going to spell doom for our friends in high because the point deficit is just getting to be almost insurmountable. High is going to have to get either a lot more structures or all the remaining Ark of Osiris's and honestly some structures. This is going to be tough. This is going to be really tough. Swarm attacks in on this rally. I don't know that I love swarming a rally. In fact, I generally don't think it's worth the number of casualties that it takes to get work done, but they did now successfully take the Shrine of Life down below. If they can get the Shrine of Life up top as well, they could, for some period of time, have 50% increased healing speed, and that would be the time to jam all the healing speed ups that you need to get your troops back into the fight. This rally, however, is looking like it's not going to win. Even though it's got a little bit of support, perhaps they will get the structure low enough that Turin can go in and help with his single army here to beat on the Shrine of Life. I'm assuming Turin is already in the rally, which is why they're instead working on the player that's hitting the rally. This is a really, really close battle that could be rather significant, but oh no. Huge reinforcements coming in for blue, meaning that this structure is just not going to be capturable. And we bring ourselves now back to what looks like a relatively even distribution of structures across the map, which once again means we're looking at an arc game. We're looking at an arc game. With 7 minutes, 32 seconds before everybody's got to be in the center of the field to get the arc, we've now got to get some additional structures if we want to win as the players in high. If you're in blue, you've got to be feeling really, really good about your position, both as the overdog in the matchup and your position on the scoreboard. I mean, this looks really solid, and a full 30 players represented for blue, 3 players down for high. I wouldn't want to be one of those 3. I would not want to be one of those 3 who didn't show up to the match for their teammates for whatever reason, right? Like sometimes there's real life stuff that you've really got to do, but that is a bummer that we are not seeing the full complement of 30 players on the field scout in on Shrine of War. Folks are thinking, you know what? We should perhaps hit this thing. That's looking mighty tempting. And still control held by blue around the Temple of Osiris. I mean, I would love to see red contend that temple and take the Ark. I mean, it's going to have to be what happens in order to turn this around. That is what's going to have to happen. In the meantime, rally in on the desert altar. I like this play. If you're going to rally literally any structure at all, I think this is the one to do. This desert altar is about to get hit with a rally. However, look at all the players that are ready to receive this rally, not on the part of red, but on the part of blue. Blue's got pretty firm control of the open field around this desert altar, and they are going to bully out any players that would want to reinforce this rally, which makes a ton of sense. Assuming, of course, that the desert altar is full. Assuming that this player, Jin Bao, already has an army in there, and they probably do. 3 more armies coming in. Whew. Look at all the T5, and they are going to swarm this rally, which, by the way, otherwise this rally going remarkably well on the desert altar. Cavalry commanders at the helm. If these players can reinforce this rally, they're going to force blue to have to do a swarm attack to get it back, and that seems really, really good. Holy moly, a lot of damage coming in just a second ago. I wonder what commander did that. What commander did that? Is that... Who's the secondary supporting this desert altar? I can't tell. All I know is that we see total mayhem right now. Players running all around the rally, but oh my gosh, if they can reinforce it right now, man, it would be amazing if they did. Perhaps those players already have their troops inside the rally, and the swarm against this rally, it looks like it will be effective in preventing red from taking this structure. Very, very solid defense on the part of blue. T5s doing serious work in that encounter. At the same time, blue asking the questions up top, down below. Rally in on this desert altar. Looks like we've got a mixed army with cavalry leading, and on the defense, Richard I. I mean, this is a real slugfest. 7,000 points down for our friends in red. They've got to get more structures and the Ark in order to win this. So they're hitting a point where they need to take higher risk, higher reward plays, because they're running out of time to try to turn this around. They do now have the Shrine of Life, which is great for healing back up, but I'm pretty concerned about this desert altar. I'm pretty concerned, and this was why. Now, swarm going in, combined with the rally, this desert altar is going to go down unless reinforcements arrive. Perhaps this player can get in or swap out the army they have in there and put in a full army. They're pausing. They're looking at it. They're wondering if they can do anything at this point. They're not sure they can, otherwise they probably would have gone in there, and they are probably going to head their way back to town, along with all the other players that were on the defense. Whew. This is a tough position to be in. Red, however, starting to make moves toward the Ark of Osiris. That is good, because that is the thing they're going to have to do, not once, but twice if they can swing it. I'm thinking that red would have to get 2 Ark of Osirises to turn this around, and oh boy, we're now going in to see T5s duking it out in the open field. Look at all the Joan of Arcs. That is impressive. That is impressive. They know what's good. They know what's good. They know that getting all that healing is seriously worth, or rather, all those buffs are seriously worth. All that rage is seriously worth. A lot of armies duking it out here. I mean, this is where the action has to go to. In order for this to continue to be a fight, red must get, not optional to claim this Temple of Osiris to get the Ark. Whew. Heck of a fight in the open field. We really appreciate High for inviting us, and both High and JWM for putting on a heck of a show. I mean, are you not entertained? Are you not entertained? Skirmishing in the open field, we see that blue currently has the numbers advantage, and action off to the right-hand side. Rally in on the Sky Altar. Looks like CPO's on the defense, and CPO is probably not my first, second, third, or, well, you get the idea. Not a top choice for defending a structure. That is because the second skill is okay, but only gets good when you get low, which is not amazing. And the third and fourth skills are basically irrelevant in defending this structure. That said, I do like the talents that are available to a CPO. I like the implications for CPO potentially getting swarmed, right? Like, that seems good. That seems good. But if these players are not able to reinforce this structure, then I guess they're going to have to hit the rally, or they could refresh their troops, sending out their weaker army, perhaps they're doing that now, and putting your stronger army into the structure. Oh, it looks like these guys are abandoning the defense, which is not a thing I would have expected. Maybe they're trying to swap out their armies and rally in, headed down the field on the rally. I like the spice, but it's going to be too slow to accomplish what it is they're trying to accomplish. Rally on the rally is a cool play, but they're ultimately thwarted in their attempt to defend that structure. We've got some action over here on the Shrine of War. It's a rally. That rally's getting melted in part from the defense, in part from the swarm that is surrounding it, and combat down below. Rally in on the Shrine of Life. I have to say, for being the underdogs in this matchup, High is doing incredibly well. Rally doing work here on the Shrine of Life. High about to lose their healing speed advantage, but at this point, I think you might stop using healing speed ups because the fat lady is warming up those vocal cords and is about to sing at full pitch because this arc is on its way uncontested. When this arc is captured, that will be the final nail in the coffin. With 20 minutes remaining, there will be no way to get into the driver's seat for this matchup. And given the number of altars now in control of blue, perhaps the nails are all already in place and hammered in as we speak. Heck of a matchup today. 1.1 billion power battling into 1.3 billion power. For those of you who are interested, our ARC team made it up to 960 million power. We're going to be battling later today. I don't know that I'm planning to stream that, but I will definitely record it, and that'll be live on my channel, which should be pretty exciting to watch. We're going to have an interesting matchup in my kingdom. It's going to be our 30 players versus 22 of their players. So, kind of a weird situation. Freddie Mercury making their way down the field. I mean, look, Freddie knows what he's got to do. He or she. Freddie recognizes what they have to do here, and that is to take out this carrier. And I'm honestly very curious how much damage this teeny army can do to an army that, like, look. Ho, ho, ho! Wow! That is 50,000 troops melting down the carrier. Freddie Mercury saying, I'm not giving up. I'm not giving up. You can see the slow from Cao Cao. Oh, I mean, look. Freddie, I salute that play. I salute that play. It was awesome. Everything about that was awesome. Freddie Mercury also leading the rally on the desert altar. Who is this Freddie Mercury that is in the right places at the right time? I don't know, but they're doing work, and that rally is successful with Caesar at the helm, and rally Or solo attack. Oh boy. Well, I assumed it was a rally, but that's a solo attack. That's a solo attack. All right. Army's getting sent home. Army's getting sent home. I can now start to pay more attention to the chat as the final Ark of Osiris is scored and my app crashes over the significance of that capture. It's not just the nail in the coffin. It's the capture that crashed Chisgule's iPad. All right, let's get back in and see what there is to see. Let's see what there is to see. Chat is really hilarious. When I asked, who is this Freddie Mercury? I wasn't really asking for their name, but that is hilarious. Bunch of folks from High in the chat. Thank you for being here. Much appreciated. Much appreciated. My friends, this is a pretty interesting Ark of Osiris. Going down, I mean, at this point, you just go for points, right? At this point, you just go for points. Here we see a lot of combat in the open field, some amount of T5s accumulating some points. It's kind of a weird time in an Ark of Osiris matchup. Rally in on not a T5 player. Rally doing some work. Defense looking really rather solid. If this city gets reinforced, then they should totally melt this rally, especially given that there's a bunch of players hitting the rally now. And the thing that's interesting about every player that surrounds this adds an additional 2% damage that the rally takes. So we have a surrounded factor of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's 14% extra damage taken, I believe. Maybe the city counts as one as well, so it'd be 16% extra damage. I mean, look, that's a lot of damage, and this is a lot of points for really everybody. Everybody gets a lot of individual contribution points from a move like this. Impressively, that city is looking like it's in trouble. What I think is interesting is that I don't know, can you heal? Can you heal while your city is getting hit? Can you do that? Can you heal your troops in Ark of Osiris? You can't do that. You cannot do that in a regular attack against your city. But can you do it in Ark of Osiris? Yes, by the way, there's this weird thing that happened. We can talk about that here because it's weird and confusing and I don't know where it came from. So apparently the king of Kingdom 52 thinks that Kingdom 51 declared war on them, which, like, I have no clue why they think that's the case. I reached out to their leader and I was like, I have no clue where you got that information from, but, like, that's not a thing. And they were like, oh. Okay. Then I guess we wait and see how KVK works. But I had someone from my alliance send me a message that was like, did you know that the king of 52 has declared war on you? And I was like, what? And in this message, it said that we declared war on them. We're like, we didn't declare war on anybody. We don't even know how KVK works yet. Why would I have declared war on anybody? Like, that's like honestly absurd. So, like, we have not declared war on anyone in any continent, in any kingdom for KVK. Just to get that out in the air. So I don't know if someone wants to help clarify that, like, we have not declared war on any kingdoms, but yeah, we haven't. So there you go. There you go. If you're in the chat, has your kingdom declared war on another kingdom? Has your kingdom declared war on another kingdom? Because that seems unusual. That seems unusual. Hi. Yeah, so this was a fun match to watch. This has been a fun match to watch. How many T5 players are in High? I think we saw 8 or so. Oh, Ranger is saying that war threats are already happening for KVK. Interesting. Interesting. From my perspective, like, We hadn't declared war on 52. It was like they were declaring war on us. And I don't even know why. I never talked to the guy before. But we talked. We're cool. Everything's cool now. He seems like a very fine person. I reached out to the leader of that kingdom, and I was like, "Hey, how are you? What's happening?" Oh man, it's just so funny. I would get accused of declaring war on kingdoms. I don't know. Whatever. It's fine. Maybe I said something that was misinterpreted. That's entirely possible. That's entirely possible. It's entirely possible that I would have said something that someone interpreted it as a declaration of war. Whatever. It's cool. It's cool. Rally going in to a city. I mean, okay. Okay, a rally going into a city here. Dude, KVK is going to be insane. Honestly, have you all ever played the game Diplomacy? You ever played the game Diplomacy where 99% of the game is figuring out whether or not other people are lying to you? And then 1% of the game is what actual choices you make? I feel like the diplomacy aspect of this game is exactly the same. Is literally exactly the same. Where 99% of this game is the diplomacy leading up to the conflict, and then 1% of it is okay, how does it unfold? How does it unfold? Gino says declaring a war in KVK is making the game more hyped. I guess that does get a kingdom pretty energized, right? You want to get a kingdom energized, you say yeah, we're declaring war. War always feels like a courageous thing to say, but there's really nothing courageous about war. There's nothing courageous about war. Unless, I don't know. I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm just going to stop. When's my arc? Later today. We're at 20 UTC. 20 UTC. We're at 960 million power, battling in the 660 million power, something like that. So it should be an interesting-ish match. We might try some edgy plays that I don't know if they're going to work, but seems like a fine match to start to test some things. This rally doing work. Oh no, just kidding. This rally. Emojis coming out. Emojis coming out on the battlefield. What do I think about changing Kevin's special civilization unit to archers? I mean, it depends on what you like to use. I'm using Korea right now because I want the research speed, and it happens to be a great choice because I'm really liking Yi Sung-ye, who I just expertised. Video about that was yesterday. Man, Swarm looking rather effective. Points, points, points is the name of the game at the end of this Arc of Osiris. What do we got over here? Another rally, because why not? And a swarm to top it off. Seems good. Seems good to me. And, oh boy, aggression down below, capturing the obelisk. I mean, ooh boy. Blue is now really going for the throat. They are not stopping. Red really needs to just swarm this at this point, or it's just going to be worse. And you may as well, because with only 8 minutes left, you may as well just get the points, right? You may as well just get the points. Oy vey. Look at that. Swarm in. Herman on the defense. Not the first choice I would make. You really need that sweet, sweet AoE one right now. And there it is. What do I think about pairing Kusunoki with Herman? Yeah, I think it's a great pair. Kusunoki with Herman is a great pair. That was a pretty small rally that took that structure. 3 players. Maybe it was a swarm, and then they filled it in. A little bit of ninja action down below. All right. All right. 7 minutes to go. We're still here because we really want to see the stats. We want to see the stats on this battle. How much healing was done? What else happened? How much caravan farming happened? I mean, I don't see a lot of caravan farming going on now, but at this point, I don't know, maybe you don't care too much. At this point, you have to recall all your gatherers, actually, because if your gatherers are picking things up in the open field, but they don't actually make it home, then you don't get any points for it. So you got to make your way actually back home. You got to make your way actually back home with those goodies. Little bit of a swarm on this T5 player beach. There's so many T5 players in this matchup. It's really quite remarkable. It's really quite remarkable. Holy moly. Look at this. Look at this. Pretty exciting matchup here. What does caravan farming do? You get points. You farm the caravans for points. It's a way of committing a small number of units and a single march to go get value. And look, if you don't have enough units to have full armies all over the place, then yeah, what you want to be doing is farming some caravans so that you can take a small number of units to get a large amount of value disproportionate to the number of units and marches you've committed to that task. Saya is saying good fight from high, even though they were down 3 players as well and had less T5s. Yeah, look, high fought very, very well. This matchup played out in a way that we would have expected. The higher power player has won the match. That is what you would expect. That is what you expect. It looks like these armies getting cleaned up. Perhaps we've got some rally action, and we do. Looks like we've got Minamoto at the helm battling in on the Sky Altar. That's kind of exciting. That's kind of exciting. Looks like the cavalry leadership is going well, and I don't hate cavalry leadership. I don't hate it. What do I think is good about the cavalry leadership? What you could do is you could use the skill tree. You could use mostly the skill tree. And when you use mostly the skill tree, look, skill tree doesn't care what kind of commander you're bringing, so there's really not all that many talent points where you really would have cared profoundly that you had cavalry, assuming you've got your rally arranged that way. I think that's pretty reasonable. Admittedly, the skills of the commanders really lend themselves toward cavalry, but, I think it's fine. And you can see here that that has played out well. They have captured the Sky Altar, but battling down to the last second. Look at this swarm. You know who I want to see on the defense for this? Yi Song-Ye. Oh my gosh, an expertise Yi Song-Ye would be so good here. There they go, getting sent home. All right. Army's getting sent home, and more action off to the side. Rally attempted, but not sufficient to take that desert altar. That rally had only 2 players, so I guess I wouldn't have expected it to work. It was just a play to get some points. Another player porting forward, and now a moment of pride, defending this player's city. Granted, they've got 70 million power, so that defense should work pretty cleanly. Another player porting in. PC to Hood going in, defending their fellow alliance member from a swarm attack. Question of how do I spectate Ark? The way that you spectate an Ark of Osiris is you have to belong to the alliance that is playing. So I create an account, get it to the very minimum that's needed. I just get through the tutorial, and then I apply. And I'm not just applying out of the blue. I also changed my name. I'm not just applying out of the blue, but, we arranged this in advance, so it's no surprise that I've showed up to spectate their Ark of Osiris. Speaking of spectating, ninja move from Sondi, grabbing the Sky Altar. Love that play. Yoink. Doesn't really matter for the total score, but still was a cool move. Temple of Osiris doesn't spawn for another 5 minutes, and the match will be over at this point. And at the same time, Outpost of Set being captured, and this match looking like we'll still see a little bit of action before it's over. Swarm attacks on player cities. Now that's spicy. That's awfully spicy. Player city porting away. Porting away under the pressure. We've got a 40 million. We've got a, what was that, 54, who happens to be the Justice as well. We've got 29 million, 41 million, 25 million. I mean, these are some big, big players on the battlefield. Can you imagine some number of months from now when it's going to be like all T5 players on both sides? I can't even. All T5 players. What does that even look like? I mean, how many months till we start to see that? Now that migrations are a thing, it's probably going to be sooner than later, isn't it? It's probably going to be sooner than later. Does ARC use actual materials and speed-ups? If you use speed-ups, yes, it uses your real speed-ups. I would recommend that you use only healing speed-ups if that's what you're going to do. It also uses real gems if you want to gem your healing, which I would not recommend that you do. Unless they change that. Last I looked, you could also gem your healing. Hooey. This is pretty nuts. A lot going on. I see some area of effect that looks like Joan of Arc is here. Perhaps? Man, I don't even know. Whew. Holy moly. Gems put out fire too? Interesting. You can use gem healing? Interesting. Yeah, the value's no good. Wouldn't do it. Wouldn't use your gems for that. A lot of battling still here. Oh, look at that. Are those trebuchets, the T5s? That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Wow. Well, rally in. 10 seconds left. Not going to be enough. Let's get a look at this scoreboard and see what happened in the end here. Let's see what happened. Here we go. Defeat. And boom. Victory for JWM. Kingdom 58 versus Kingdom 59. Those are some, geez. That's going to be a tough continent to be on, by the way. If we talk about occupation score, blue held more structures. Look at that, 15,000 points of Ark of Osiris. Now, here's the thing. If red had been capturing all those arcs, they would have won the match. They would have straight won. I'm not saying they were in a position to do that, but you get the idea. A lot of severely wounded units on the part of High and double the healing, almost, not quite, performed by High to stay in the fight. You know, very well fought. This was an outcome that was probably expected based on the power levels, assuming equal levels of play from both players. This was the default outcome. Very well fought by High, very well fought by JWM. I appreciate having the opportunity to have cast this Ark of Osiris match. Thank you to both alliances for a great matchup. Thank you again to High for bringing us in to do this. Really, really appreciate it. I think we're going to head out for now. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed this stream. And until next time, my friends, you have fun smashing the kingdom.